Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, Vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord. This one short verse carries a lifetime of work for the human heart, because it goes directly against our natural reflex to defend, strike back, justify ourselves, and make sure everyone knows we were right. Paul begins with dearly beloved, and that matters more than we often notice. God is not barking a cold command at us from a distance. He is speaking to people he loves deeply, people he knows are wounded, misunderstood, betrayed, overlooked, and sometimes treated unfairly. And then he says something that sounds almost impossible. Do not avenge yourselves. In today's world, revenge does not always look like fists or courtrooms. It often looks like silent treatment, cutting someone off without explanation. Subtle online attacks, sarcastic posts, telling our side of the story in a way that quietly destroys the other person's reputation, or replaying arguments in our head like a greatest hits album of injustice. We live in a culture where being offended is almost a sport, and public shaming has become a form of entertainment. If someone hurts us, the modern instinct is simple: expose them, cancel them, out them, or emotionally delete them. Romans 12:19 walks straight into that culture and calmly says, stop trying to be your own judge, jury, and executioner. The phrase, but rather give place unto wrath, is very important. It does not mean we pretend nothing hurts. It does not mean we suppress anger until it leaks out sideways. It means we deliberately step back and make room for God to deal with what is not ours to fix. In other words, we move out of the judge's chair and let God sit down where he already belongs. That is deeply uncomfortable for us, because revenge gives us the illusion of control. It makes us feel powerful for a moment. Letting God handle justice feels weak, passive, and risky. What if God does nothing? What if the other person gets away with it? What if I look foolish for staying quiet? But God directly answers that fear with the words, vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord, not maybe. Not someday if I feel like it, not only when it is convenient. God says repayment belongs to Him. Justice is not outsourced to your emotional survival system. It is handled by a holy, all-seeing, perfectly fair judge who misses nothing. Not one hidden intention, not one quiet betrayal, not one tear you cried alone when nobody defended you. In our time, we often confuse justice with personal satisfaction. We want closure that feels good. We want an apology that sounds exactly the way we imagined it. We want the other person to finally understand how much they hurt us. God's justice, however, is not designed to soothe our ego. It is designed to reveal truth and bring about what is truly right. Sometimes that means visible consequences. Sometimes it means slow exposure. Sometimes it means a changed heart. And sometimes it means justice that we will only fully understand in eternity. That is hard. Let's be honest. It is extremely hard. Yet Romans 12:19 is not asking you to trust the person who hurt you. It is asking you to trust God's character. There is a huge difference. When you release revenge, you are not declaring the other person innocent. You are declaring God competent. In very practical, modern terms, this verse changes how we deal with conflict at work, in church, in families, and even online. When someone speaks badly about you behind your back, Romans 12:19 whispers, you do not have to start a counter-campaign. When someone ignores your boundaries, Romans 12:19 says, you can still speak truth and protect yourself without becoming cruel. When someone walks away from you, misunderstands you, or refuses to listen, Romans 12:19 reminds you that your value is not decided by their response. This verse does not tell you to stay in harmful situations or to accept abuse. God never asks His children to remain unsafe. But He does ask us to keep our hearts free from the poison of revenge, because revenge always costs more than it pays. It consumes emotional energy, distorts memory, and slowly reshapes our personality around our pain. And honestly, it also makes terrible company. Nobody becomes warmer, wiser, or more loving by rehearsing grudges. The line, give place unto wrath, also speaks to something very practical inside us. Anger needs somewhere to go. If we do not bring it to God, it will go somewhere else. It will leak into sarcasm, into distance, into bitterness, into exhaustion, into relationships that suddenly feel heavier than they should. Giving place to wrath means we carry it into prayer and say very plainly, Lord, This hurt, this feels unfair. This still stings. God is not shocked by that honesty. He is far more concerned when we pretend we are fine while secretly sharpening emotional knives. There is something deeply freeing about saying, Lord, you saw it, you know it. I give you the right to deal with it. And yes, sometimes that feels like handing God a mess and then checking the clock, wondering when he plans to clean it up. But faith grows precisely in that waiting. Today, many people are tired. Tired of disappointment, tired of broken promises, tired of strained relationships, tired of carrying stories that do not have neat endings. Romans 12:19 does not promise a quick fix. It offers a different way to carry the weight. You do not have to become hard in order to survive. You do not have to become suspicious of everyone. You do not have to turn your heart into a courtroom. God is not recruiting you as his backup judge. He is inviting you to rest in his justice. And here's the gentle irony. When you stop trying to repay pain with pain, you actually become lighter. Your emotional bandwidth opens up again for love, creativity, laughter, and connection. It is amazing how much space revenge occupies in the human soul and how much room suddenly appears when it leaves. In a world that constantly tells you to stand up for yourself by striking back, Romans 12:19 teaches a stronger kind of courage, the courage to remain soft without becoming foolish, the courage to trust God without denying reality, and the courage to believe that no wrong done to you is ever wasted in God's hands. God's justice is not slow because he is indifferent. It is patient because he is purposeful. So today, if you are carrying unresolved anger, unanswered questions, or deep disappointment, this verse gently places your clenched fist back into an open hand. You are dearly beloved. You do not need to fight for a throne that was never meant for you. Let God handle what only God can handle. And yes, it may feel like the slow lane, but it is the only lane that leads to peace instead of permanent war inside your own heart.